All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
From Korb. Here. Broker.
Here.
Shooty.
Here.
Krieger.
Here.
Actor.
Here.
5 present, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, approve the minutes of the November 22nd meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Broker, second by Krieger to approve the minutes of the November 22nd, 2022 City Council meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Proclamation honoring the service of Kiel's clerk treasurer Janelle Moritz. I'd like to read this for the record. From the City of Kiel in appreciation of Janelle Moritz. With sincere appreciation and gratitude, the Mayor and Common Council hereby recognizes 26 years of selfless community service of Janelle Moritz as the Kiel City Clerk Treasurer. She has done an outstanding job by serving Kiel citizens with excellent customer service, ensured the integrity of finances of utilities and government operations, led various modernization initiatives, issued countless permits, oversaw payroll, human resource programs, and elections, and generally provided help and direction to thousands of citizens to help keep the city running smoothly. Thank you for your 26 years of service to the City of Kiel Clerk Treasurer Moritz. You are a credit to the City of Kiel and the wider Kiel area. Please enjoy your well-deserved retirement. Presented this 13th day of December 2022, Mike Steinhardt, Mayor, Alderpersons, Jeremy Frum, John Korb, John Broker, Kathy Shooty, Bill Krieger, and
Speech.
It's official, Janelle. You can put the cape away now. No more leaping tall buildings in single bounds, okay?
She's been celebrating retirement for a week.
as it should be.
Thank you, Janelle. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Janelle.
And I'll take the hit on Chief Funkhauser ghosting tonight. He's at a holiday party and he's like, oh, there's a meeting tonight, I'm supposed to be there? So that's on me, I apologize.
Wow.
But he will be here Tuesday, next week Tuesday, and we'll recognize him then. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, so we will jump to any public comment tonight. No public comment? Okay. Number 9 is public hearing on ordinance 606, repealing and recreating Chapter 20, the floodplain zoning. We need a...
Move to open the
Yeah.
public hearing.
Okay, we need a second.
Second.
Motion by Krieger, second by Broker to open a public hearing on ordinance 606, repealing and recreating Chapter 20 of the floodplain zoning. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing's open.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I guess I would recommend just having the public hearing and not necessarily the ordinance enactment. The reason is the state gives what's called a model floodplain zoning ordinance to towns and villages and cities. And what that means is they have all the language that they want in the ordinance, but they, of course, will format it and change names as much as they can, but they don't know necessarily what our code looks like. And when you read that sucker, there are about 50 references within itself, to itself, that are not numbered correctly and need to be numbered correctly. I think I have about a third to half done of the 50 some odd pages that the ordinance is. And anyway, the content has not changed at all since what you've seen from, as we discussed a week ago at the committee of the whole meeting. It's a very standard, again, across the state style ordinance that communities have to adopt in order to get flood insurance. So anyway, along with that, I guess really I don't have any more comments on the ordinance other than it's an update, not only for some of the language that they want, but also there are newer maps in there as well.
Okay. Any discussion on this from the council? Okay.
So do we need to have another public hearing?
No.
Nope, we
This
had
is
it, it's been published as it needs to be. I think it was published twice this last month
Okay,
for tonight. There's no comment, obviously, on it.
okay.
Being there's no comment, do it, we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to-
Have a second?
Second.
Motion by Broker, second by Octor to close the public hearing on ordinance 606, repealing and recreating chapter 20 for the floodplain zoning. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed. And consideration of ordinance will,
Motion to table. Second.
motion by Broker, second by Krieger to table the consideration of ordinance 606, repealing and recreating chapter 20 for the floodplain zoning. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is, the motion is tabled. Okay, number 11, public hearing on the City of Kiel 2042 comprehensive plan.
Thank you, Mr.
We
Mayor.
need to open a public hearing.
Yes, we do. Appreciate
So
that.
moved.
Second.
Motion by Broker, second by Shuey to open a public hearing on the City of Kiel 2042 comprehensive plan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing is open.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, we have with us Lauren Dietz, who is a planner with MSA, who was awarded the comprehensive plan contract for 2042. So it's a 20-year comprehensive plan. Legally, by law, we have to have one adopted. Certainly every 20 years, usually there are more frequent updates that occur within the 20-year period. But you did a great job. We just had an Economic Development Committee meeting that unanimously recommended approval of the comprehensive plan, but I'll let Ms. Dietz, who knows it much more intimately than I do, explain it and lay it out.
So first, I want to thank you for having me here tonight. I really had a lot of fun working on this plan. So we'll just go over really quickly what a comprehensive plan is and why we do it. The purpose is to establish a shared vision for Kiel that will guide future actions and decisions. So it is a guidance document. It's not meant to say specifically, you will do this, you will do that. It's to guide your decisions as the city moves forward and to improve the city's ability to work cohesively and consistently over time by having something to reference. The purpose is to use it as a resource for managing growth. It's designed to be a working document, or we like to call it a living document, for city officials and staff to direct community development decisions, assist with budgeting, and use it as a tool to focus investment throughout the community. So it is kind of an umbrella document that kind of covers everything. And the fun thing about comprehensive plans is for as many topics as there are, the state requires 9 different elements. They're all related to each other. So we implement it through the use of ordinances. Most specifically and most commonly used are the zoning and subdivision ordinances. And so it helps Plan Commission and City Council both design and enact those ordinances in concert with state statutes. And for maintenance, it's the city's best effort to address issues as they are now and to anticipate future needs, but it can and should be amended as necessary, as conditions change, as there's maybe turnover on council, different priorities are set by Plan Commission. So best practices is to amend it from time to time. Some communities do it every year, some do it every 5 years, but it should be fully updated with new data every 10 years according to state law, even though it is a 20-year document. So for the adoption procedure, we're at kind of the tail end of the adoption procedure, so it's been recommended by a body of local government that's authorized to do so, which would be the Economic Development Commission. With their recommendation, we bring it to City Council for City Council to adopt or vote otherwise regarding the plan. And so the process for the actual plan, we started last January with a kickoff, discussed strengths and concerns and some issues and opportunities. Used that to put a draft together. I came back in May, did a policy review, received some staff feedback, and we talked about land use and some of the goals and concerns for land use. Had another meeting in September with city staff to go over that draft and get some more feedback on it. And then here in December, we are with the Economic Development Commission and the City Council public hearing for adoption. I'll go through the goals really quickly. One of the things we're really proud of with this plan is we took the city's existing plan, which is well over 100 pages, I think somewhere around 140 pages, and condensed it down to about 60 working pages, both to make it more flexible for the city, to make it easy to use, and also it reduces the amount of time that it sits on a shelf because it's so big no one wants to read it. So the first one is agricultural, natural, and cultural resources. The state requires all three of these. We group them together because it makes a lot of sense to do so. With agricultural goals, we have preserve and protect agricultural lands in balance with developments of the city, and cooperate with neighboring towns on land development within the planning area to preserve agricultural character and limit incompatible uses. So if we have really productive land around the city or prime farmland, we may not want to disturb that, try to drive some of the development elsewhere to places that may be a little less productive or a little bit more conducive to city use. For natural resources, we have protect and enhance the natural settings unique to the character of Kiel. One thing that Kiel has that a lot of communities don't is the river that runs through it. It's great for recreation, it's great for economic development, and protecting that river and some of the other natural settings is really important. And for cultural resources, preserve historical and built natural features, or I also like to say almost historical built-in natural features, because if you tear them down, they never become historical. So keep the things that make Kiel Kiel. And then preserve and promote the city's historic structures and sites, especially in the downtown area. For utilities and community facilities, under utilities, we have that the city of Kiel will have a high-quality, cost-effective, well-planned, and efficient system of public utilities, and that system planning and implementation will occur in coordination with land use and transportation plans and projects. So if you're doing a major construction or reconstruction of a street, it makes sense to also redo your utilities at that time to make sure that you're lessening the inconvenience of the people living there or working there, and you're also saving on like mobilization costs and construction costs by really grouping that kind of stuff together. And then also kind of avoiding what we call leapfrog land use, where you make big jumps over undeveloped areas where you have to extend utilities to a new space, and really kind of keep the growth contained, so that way you're not building utilities that aren't being used. And then for community facilities, the city of Kiel will have high quality community facilities for residents, businesses, and visitors alike. Kiel already has really great community facilities, so a lot of our policies and actions related to that are keep doing the good work. For intergovernmental cooperation, coordinating with local, regional, and statewide governmental organizations to optimize local and regional planning efforts, which again is something that Kiel already does really well. So it's really focused on maintaining those relationships. Under economic development, one that we heard a lot about was the downtown core on Fremont. So our main goal is to foster reinvestment in existing downtown commercial building stock to provide quality space for entrepreneurship and business growth. Small businesses are starting to come back. aside from a lot of the online shopping, people are starting to really focus on those small businesses that make communities what they are, and making sure that you have quality space for those is a really good idea. And then the city will attract, expand, and diversify the local economy. One thing that's really special to Kiel is that even though you have a heavily manufacturing-based economy, is that you're not reliant on one manufacturer or one specific type of manufacturing. So if something were to happen with one of the major employers around here, it wouldn't necessarily be a giant blow to the whole local economy for jobs and economic development. Luckily, the businesses that are around here are also very invested in the community, so that shouldn't be an issue, but, you know, can't see the future. It's always a good idea to make sure that things are diversified. Under housing, which was one of the main things we were looking at, is retaining and attracting residents, including young professionals, especially kids just getting out of college, trying to lure them back home. Families and retirees by supporting a range of housing. Federal investment in housing kind of swings on a pendulum. Right now the pendulum is swung very far toward helping build senior housing, assisted living, but you also don't want to forget the other end of that with the starter housing, the family housing. So making sure that you have that variety, make sure that you bring that variety of people into town. Maintaining quality housing and community character by encouraging the maintenance and improvement of the existing housing stock and properties throughout the community, and then connecting and integrating new home developments to the rest of the city through comprehensive transportation corridors. So if you annex land, it's a lot easier for developers to just develop a whole subdivision or major parts of a new subdivision. And it's really easy for that to stay separated kind of from the rest of the city. So to make sure that those people feel integrated into the fabric of the community, you know, make sure that there are sidewalks, trails, streets that make it feel like it's a part of Kiel. Which brings me to mobility and transportation. Designing a capital improvement plan that includes the management and maintenance of existing streets, sidewalks, and trails. Just sounds like you've got a sidewalk program going on right now. And then developing a comprehensive connected mobility system that provides access to traditional and alternative modes of transportation and active recreation throughout Kiel. So not just that can the buses get safely to school, but can my kid walk or ride their bike safely to school? And then land use, which is a really big part of all of these plans, is to create a sustainable development pattern, making it efficient, like I said, trying to avoid that leapfrog development, creating a mix of uses, and then reducing conflict zones, so we're not putting a quiet family neighborhood next to an active mine. And then establishing balanced neighborhoods throughout the city and revitalizing the downtown core through mixed uses. So maybe looking at making it so there can be upper level housing and first level commercial, and making sure that people are stopping and mingling and visiting places downtown. So more specifically with land use, what we did was we started out with an existing land use map. A couple of things to point out is that residential is really kind of concentrated in the core middle part of town, and then anything that's a little bit more intense, like industrial, heavy commercial, heavy industrial, is kind of located toward the outside. So within these gray areas, for people who are familiar with the community, you'll see that where the Sargento plant is, where Ameriquip is, those are listed as industrial. But when looking at the future land use plan, we really tried to make a distinction between kind of light industrial, more business park that's busy versus an active mine that's a little bit more heavy on the land use, a lot louder. People wouldn't necessarily want to live next to it. So we have one thing listed as industrial, and it's that mine and industrial area outside of town. It doesn't necessarily look like it's going to be incorporated anytime soon, but it's also just a really easy thing to identify and kind of call out in the plan. The other thing we do is we take some kind of a wide array of data, household sizes, population projections that we get from the state, and look at those over time to determine what kind of land use you need, in addition to what you already have, and what acreage that would be. So even though this kind of purple dotted line area is what's within Kiel's planning jurisdiction, we also want to make sure that it's focused on what Kiel currently needs and where its money can do the best good, or its resources just in general as well. And the other thing that we did is, in the past, it's been kind of a standard practice to identify residential areas as either low, medium, or high density, or some kind of mixed use, to make it so that you don't have to do so many amendments to your plan. If a developer came in and said, hey, this says low density residential, but I'd really like to put a small apartment building here. We just kept it all residential, and then identified some areas that, based on current land uses, would be more amenable to possibly having higher densities in those areas, which is these cross-hatched areas in this kind of surrounded by orange. And then where we decided certain land uses would be best, we identified areas that we call development limitations. So the obvious one would be the state marsh. Nothing's going to happen there, so we called that out. And then what you see, the tan area is all agricultural use currently, and then those kind of green splotchy areas are what we call development limitations, which are steep slopes, wetlands, soils that aren't conducive to certain types of land use, and really try to steer development to places where you don't have to do a lot of extra work. Like, you don't have to do as much grading or as much dirt work to develop there. And then the other thing we did is calling out the downtown core, because we do reference the downtown area a lot. So by calling it out specifically and defining it, we can really really focus some of our efforts there. Finally, we also, because this is kind of the 10,000 foot view of what Kiel could look like in 10 to 20 years, we didn't identify public land or open space if it already hasn't been identified. So if it's an area that could be developed as something, we leave that decision up to the development process and the site review process. We're not going to say you have to put a park here and have a developer come along and say, well, actually, we'd like to do it over here. Again, trying to make this as flexible as possible and as usable as possible for staff and for the city council. So what's next? What comes of this? We're in the adoption procedure. So once city council adopts the plan, city staff and MSA finalize the document, which is doing things like adding adoption resolutions and dates into the plan that are currently just have placeholder text. And then we'll send the final document to the city, who then sends it out to the appropriate organizations as required by state law, and then makes it available to the public and to council. And then for using the plan, there are so many ways this plan can be used. It's for annual budgeting, looking at where your priorities can be, strategic planning and goal setting, helping define what's in the capital improvement plan. And one of the, I don't want to say most important, but one that is maybe more publicly visible is grant applications. It is one of the kind of basis points for federal and state and private grants and loans. Even something like stewardship, where you have to have a corp, it'll still ask you about your comprehensive plan as well. And then as such, it supports and complements other community plans. It can help attract developers, and it can support subdivision and zoning code amendments. And like I mentioned earlier, The best practice is to revisit the plan every 1 to 2 years to make small updates, either as goals and actions are met and completed, or something changes, and then do major updates with the data and kind of what we're doing now every 5 to 10 years, or at most 20, which is the time horizon of the document. So, that was a lot of talking. I apologize. Does anyone have any questions?
Just a real quick comment, Lauren. And I just want to reiterate, when you looked at, when she went through the goals, they sound very general, right? And I totally understand that. But those goals are general because, and that ties back to what she just talked about, when you're doing grant applications, right now, just this last budget year, the state of Wisconsin has a $6 billion surplus just in 1 year alone. And what they're gonna probably end up doing with that on some level is having some sort of targeted grant program, probably for communities or however they want you to spend that money. And then you tie back to, in the application, it's gonna be like, hey, does this fit with does this housing plan, that you wanna do fit with your comprehensive plan, your 20-year plan? And so we can tie back to this plan in a lot of different ways. So it's on the functional end of things, it's very handy and helpful for getting those grants in particular.
Yeah, and the goals are intentionally, like you said, intentionally broad, but we do have more specific policies and actions in the plan to help
Yeah.
implement those goals. One other thing that I'll mention is where it says support and complement other community plans. The tradition in planning is that we used to, everything was very specific. If there was a section on Parks and Recreation, we put everything about Parks and Recreation into that. And then you'd also have a corp that may or may not agree with what's in the comprehensive plan. So to avoid those conflicts and to avoid the number of steps you need to take if you were to update your corp, which is every 5 years as opposed to something that's every 10 to 20, we reference your current comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. So that way that's the guiding document for that specific thing. If you have a housing plan, it references a housing plan. So that way there are fewer steps for city staff and elected officials to follow if there were a change to either the comprehensive plan or that other more specific plan. So the idea is to keep it off the shelf for more than just making changes.
It appears to be very fluid and kind of subject to changes, adaptations as needed.
Any other comments from the council? Okay, do we need to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion on this? Okay, motion by Broker, seconded by Shudy to close the public hearing on the City of Kiel 2042 Comprehensive Plan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed. Number 12, consideration of the City of Kiel 2042 Comprehensive Plan.
I'll make the motion, we adopt the, City of Kiel 2042 Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
Any further discussion? Motion by Shudy, second by Broker to approve the City of Kiel 2042 Comprehensive Plan. Roll call.
Korb, yes. Roker,
Yes.
Shudy,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Actor.
Yes.
5-0, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Lauren.
you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Number 13, consideration of a quote for pedestrian bridge from Anderson Bridges in the amount of $173,700 for a bowstring bridge and abutment design of concrete with pile supports.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We received 3 bids for two styles of bridges, a Pratt truss bridge, which is kind of like a railroad trestle style, very horizontal. And then the other style is what's called a bowstring style bridge. And that has kind of an arc or an arch in the middle on each side of the bridge. One of the things I did was solicit a photo of what that would look like. It'd be much more beautiful setting than what's in this photo. Looks like a substation in the background. But anyway, it's the bowstring style. It's got kind of that design feature there in the middle and with the railings, and then the wooden boards throughout the middle of the bridge. So the lowest bid, well, for both bridges, is from a company called Anderson out of Colfax, Wisconsin. And they bid $156,800 for the Pratt Bridge and $168,200 for the bowstring. And then along with that, this is kind of a multi-step process. So that's just purely for the bridge. You also have to do design with abutments, design where the bridge connects into each side of the bank. So if there's concrete pile supports, and that's probably the most sturdy style of supports you can have with this, it's $5,500 for them to design the abutments for the concrete pile supports. And then they have a standard 10-year warranty on the bridge. The full useful life with good maintenance should be 30 years or more. I think he told me they have a similar style bridge that they built in 1990 and it's doing just fine. But anyway, so it's got it, and that's all three companies. Actually, Contech and Wheeler didn't really even have warranty. They had 1 year warranties. Anderson's got a 10. And I guess in the end, I asked for your support for the bowstring style bridge with concrete pile supports from Anderson, so that we can continue to proceed then on the next part of this, which is bidding out the installation of the bridge.
I just have one question.
Yep.
We're gonna prohibit UTVs and ATVs from crossing this bridge,
No motorized vehicles will be
Thank
allowed
you.
on the bridge, correct.
because they will tear it up in a matter of no time whatsoever.
It is a pedestrian bridge. It is going to be wider than the current bridge for ADA compliance,
Okay,
with better grades on each side. But no motorized vehicles will be allowed on the
Thank you.
bridge.
You need a motion?
Yes.
All right, I'll put my nose out. I will make the motion that we accept the quote from Anderson Bridges in the amount of $173,700 for a bowstring bridge and abutment design concrete with pile supports.
second.
Any further discussion on the bridge? Motion by Schutte, second by Krieger, to approve the pedestrian bridge from Anderson Bridges in the amount of $173,700 for a bowstring bridge and abutment design concrete with pile supports.
One question, what was the
Sure.
lead time on this? If you recall, I don't remember.
3 months?
3 months.
Yeah. Yep, I asked the gentleman, I want to be looking at a bridge this time next year, fully installed, and he said, yep, we can do that.
Okay. Any other questions? Let's have a roll call on this one.
Corb,
Yes.
Roker,
Yes.
Schutte,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Actor.
Yes.
5-0, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, number 14, consideration of a change order to contract G, increase of $56,462.20 to regrade temporary stockpile of suitable fill material, stabilize and landscape.
Someone needs to explain to me how this can cost $56,400. I'm sorry. My vote on this is no matter what.
Well, our original plan, as you might recall, Alderperson Krieger, was to have one of the local companies was interested in the fill and taking it off our hands for free. They came, they looked at it, they tested the soil on it, and then they just decided, they either found a closer project or they didn't, either way, they decided not to take it. So we initially thought that we were not going to have to spend the money to have it landscaped. I mean, this is the fill that was dug out to add aeration basins and expand parts of the facility. It's material we would have to deal with, we would have had to deal with had we not thought that it would have been hauled away, but it wasn't. So I guess what I'd say is, either way, we'd be dealing with this. And we just thought it was gonna be free, and it's $56,000 to grade it, landscape it, make it look, decent.
But wasn't that in the original?
It was, and I think we took it out. I think it was in the original bid, and I think we actually.
I
took
don't
it out
remember. I
as a
can't
change
honestly
order.
answer that question.
Can't we find somebody else interested in this?
I mean, there's no one interested right now.
And being along a river, how long can this go unfixed?
I don't know. I can't,
Because
I
there
don't know the
would
answer.
be potential for wash into the river with rains and,
Is,
I don't think the location is,
it's close to the river.
no.
no,
Because it's on the backside.
Yeah,
no,
it's
it's
on-
on the other side, it's not gonna. Is your objection just the cost of doing it, or is it?
Absolutely.
Well, should we re-quote?
Oh my God.
We can have, if that's the objection, otherwise, I mean, it has to be taken care of, it has to be regraded and either hauled out or regraded and landscaped, one or the other.
I was gonna say, is this something, I mean, we have numerous landscapers around here that, do have fill and whatnot. Maybe they can't take the whole thing, but maybe they could take a portion of it. I mean,
Who's this contract with?
This one is with, well, it's either Myron or C.D. Smith.
Jenny, you had mentioned something about having, prior to this, that you had a third party tested the soil?
Yeah, it's not contaminated. I mean,
Oh,
but
that-
it wasn't for what they wanted it for.
It wasn't the
okay.
proper
Okay,
soil
all
for
right,
what they
that-
wanted for
when
fill.
you said you
No.
tested it, I thought
No,
there
no,
was
it's
concern.
more the composition of the soil.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
So C.D. Smith probably, they just sought out one provider to do all of this stuff, and that this is what we got.
I see earthwork landscaping. I don't see any other name other than C.D. Smith. Soper companies.
I think there might have been a change order way back when we decided that we could get this for free and we took it out. But, I mean, we have to check that.
Yeah, I just don't have that information.
Either way, we've gotta take care of it somehow. So-
Understood. What, is there, any big hurry or a timeline that this affects doing something else?
I wouldn't think so, cause it's off to one side of the plant. I mean, I don't think it's gonna affect what they do
I think
in construction.
we're gonna have a meeting next week, Tuesday. Why don't we get those questions answered and get you better information for next Tuesday and have this on that agenda? How about that?
Is it allowable, or would it be appropriate for us to seek bids to do this?
I don't know. I don't know if we're contractually obligated to go through C.D. Smith for this or not, or what have you. And
Can we also find out if there was a change order request that?
yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's all
we
part
should
of
look
what,
at that.
That
what
they-
we'll
they
let you know.
credited us back 56,000 or?
I recall that, but we'd have to check that.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot been in and out, kinda all the way
Yes,
along,
yeah.
and I just don't wanna take a guess and have it be wrong.
So you want a motion to table this?
Yeah,
I'll make that motion,
I could.
pending finding out the answers to the questions that were
Yeah.
posed.
Yep.
Any other discussion on this? Motion by Broker, second by Krieger to table the change order request for contract G, which was an increase of $56,462.20. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is, or the item is tabled. Number 15, consideration of change order number 1 to lead service lateral contract, additional lead laterals.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This does, this brings in unidentified lead laterals from the start of the project. There had been more brought in to the tune of $30,145 is what the increase to the original contract price is. But this is also covered under the DNR lead service lateral grants and our grant money that we got both internally as a city through federal ARPA funds and the match from the county through federal ARPA funds. So this 30,000 fits within our grant funds that we already had. So effectively, this, even though it's a $30,000 increase, it doesn't cost us anything more.
And this then does complete all the lead laterals in the city of Kiel.
Never say never, but yes.
There might be, there might be a
Yeah.
couple around that sneak in yet, but.
Yeah, but
We-
put it this way, the vast
To the best of our
majority.
knowledge.
Yes, to the
Okay,
best of our
to the
knowledge.
best of our
we-
knowledge, we
Yep.
are done.
And that's in speaking from the house to the water main, right? Privately, behind the water meter of a house, there could be lead solder, there could be a lot of things within the house that are still lead, but that's not
That's their-
covered under the grant, and it's not our
It's the homeowner's
responsibility. It's
responsibility.
purely
Right.
exactly Alderperson Krieger.
And that would have to be taken care of, I'm guessing, when the house was sold.
Sold or
Or
a plumber
whatever.
or whatever, yeah.
Okay.
Or the person buying it accepts the fact that they have lead solder, so.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 1 to the lead service lateral contract.
I'll second.
Any other discussion on this one?
We did receive some credit back, correct? Because
We did, yep.
the
that's
contract extended past its due date.
also correct. I don't have that exact figure at my fingertips.
$45,930.
So that more than abates this 30,000.
No, it was originally $76,075 was the contract. We received $45,930 back, so it has a remainder of $30,145.
Oh, okay. Wonderful, thank you. No.
Okay, anything else? Motion by Broker, second by Shuey to approve change order number 1 to the lead service lateral contract. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 16, consideration of quote from ICE Implement in the amount of $9,900 for a John Deere rotary broom and snowblower floor quotes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is part of our budget. We did get 2 quotes, one from ICE and one from Reister and Schnell, and ICE was a low bid.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of the John Deere rotary broom and snow blower from ICE Implement for $9,900.
I'll second.
Any other discussion on this one? Motion by Broker, second by Shuey to approve the quote from ICE Implement in the amount of $99,900 for John Deere rotary broom and snow blower. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 17, consideration of Mayor Mike Steinhardt's appointment of Jamie Dahmer to the Business Improvement District Board. Steve Notham resigned from the board. We'd like to thank Steve for his service on the bid district board. And I talked to Jamie Dahmer, and she'd be happy to sit in on the Business Improvement District Board.
I make a motion to consider Jamie Dahmer for, approve Jamie Dahmer's appointment by the mayor to said business improvement.
Second.
Motion by Korb, second by Krieger to approve Jamie Dahmer for the Business Improvement District Board. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 18, consideration of certified survey map for Thomas J. and Deborah B. Heyer, 14701 Alto Robles Lane, Town of Schleswig. I will not read the parcels, but parcels are there. So, want to explain that one? Brittany? This is-
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is just a parcel split. It's within our 2-mile extraterritorial jurisdiction. They're sectioning off they're hiding back in here. Basically, it's a family just splitting the parcels in half. It's near Wallahigh Park.
It's in Wallahigh, it's in the Wallahigh Woods, off of Rockville Road.
Motion to approve the certified survey map as requested.
Second.
Okay, motion by Broker, second by Actor to approve the certified survey map for Thomas J. and Deborah B. Heyer, 14701 Alto Robles Lane, Town of Schleswig. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 19, consideration of 2023 purchase of service agreement and facility use agreement between Manitowoc County and the City of Kiel for the elderly nutrition program for the Kiel senior citizens.
Thank you. This is our senior meal site participation, both for the facility and for the position.
I'm guessing it's basically the same contract we've had for the
So-
last.
This one and the next one are kind of annual approvals, so we can keep participating.
I'll make the motion, we approve the 2023 purchase of service agreement and facility use agreement between Manitowoc County and the City of Kiel for the elderly nutrition program.
Okay, motion by Shooty, second by Korb to approve the 2023 purchase of service agreement and facility use agreement between Manitowoc County and the City of Kiel for the elderly nutrition program for the senior citizens in Kiel. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 20, consideration of 2023 joint powers agreement between Manitowoc County and the Joint Dispatch Center.
This agreement is so when someone in Kiel dials 911, someone picks up. So,
Is there a cost to us involved with this? I didn't see anything.
nope. This is just, some counties do charge municipalities for this type of service. Manitowoc County does not.
Okay.
I mean, they do charge other costs such, for services of radios and things like that we
Okay.
have, but
Okay.
not for this. No.
Awesome. In that case, I will go ahead and make the motion that we approve the 2023 joint powers agreement between Manitowoc County and Joint Dispatch Center. And is there any way that when we dial 911, we could stop going to Calumet County Dispatch first? When I dial 911 for my house, which is clearly Manitowoc County, I wind up at Calumet County Dispatch, who then transfers me to Manitowoc County.
Okay. We can bring it up to them if that's, I don't hear that very often, but I'll let them know that that's occurring for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we've got a motion. We have a second. Motion by Shooty, second by Broker to approve the 2023 joint powers agreement between Manitowoc County and the Joint Dispatch Center. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 21, consideration of Officer Corey Wilkins to attend the Wisconsin Traffic Safety Conference in Pewaukee, February 27th, 2023 through March 1st, 2023.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Broker, second by Krieger to approve the Officer Corey Wilkins to attend the Wisconsin Traffic Safety Conference in Pewaukee, February 27th through March 1st, 2023. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 22, consideration of Officer Alex Grant to attend the Wisconsin Narcotic Officers Conference in Wisconsin Dells, February 22nd through February 24th, 23, that should be 23.
23, yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Move to approve with the correction of 2023.
Second.
Motion by Krieger, second by Broker to approve the Officer Grant, Alex Grant to attend the Wisconsin Narcotic Officers Conference in Wisconsin Dells, February 22nd through February 24th of 2023. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 23, consideration of Officer Jeremy Camp to attend the Wisconsin Juvenile Officers Conference in Wisconsin Dells on January 23rd through January 24th.
That should probably be 2023 as well. I think Dave was short timing on this one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame him on these.
Put that on his, I didn't do his
Throw him
review.
under the
I
bus.
didn't do his review yet, so I'll note that in his review.
Motion to approve with the date correction is noted.
Second.
Okay, motion by Broker, second by Shooty to approve Officer Jeremy Camp to attend the Wisconsin Juvenile Officers Conference in Wisconsin Dells, January 23rd through January 24th, 2023. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 24, accept the resignation of John Youngen as an EMT with the Kiel Ambulance Service effective November 11th, 2022.
Motion to accept the resignation of Don Junkin as an EMT with Kiel Ambulance Service effective November 11th, 2022.
I'll second.
Motion by Broker, second by Shooty to accept the resignation of John Youngkin as an EMT with the Kiel Ambulance Service effective November 11th, 2022. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 25, accept the resignation of Michelle Hurley
Yep.
as Kiel Police Department Administrative Assistant effective November 15th, 2022.
Make the motion to accept the resignation of Michelle Hurley as Kiel Police Department Administrative Assistant, effective November 15th, 2022.
Second.
Motion by Shooty, second by Octor to approve the resignation of Michelle Hurley as Kiel Police Department Administrative Assistant effective November 15th, 2022. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 26, the consideration of accepting the following donations. The Knights of Columbus, $421.75 for the pedestrian bridge. The Kiel Cub Scout Pack, $100 to the City of Kiel, and Bonnie Abler, $100 to the Kiel Community Center.
Motion to accept the donations as read.
Second.
Okay, motion by Broker, second by Shooty to accept the donations as read. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 27, approve receipts and disbursements.
Move to approve receipts and disbursements.
Second.
Motion by Krieger, second by Broker to approve receipts and disbursements. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 28, approve bills.
Move to approve and pay all bills.
Second. Roll call.
Motion by Krieger, second by Broker to approve all bills. Roll call.
Korb,
Yes.
Broker,
Yes.
Shooty,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Octor.
Yes.
5-0, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, number 29, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Krieger, second by Broker to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
John, did you go